Right now on Denver 7 News at 4. Closed for renovations. Casa Bonita employees are waiting to get back to work.
It's my house, my second house. I spent 30 years, it's a lot of time.
What employees have been working on during the downtime.
As the child care worker shortage continues, new refugees and immigrants could be the answer for filling those jobs. The programs that's preparing them and also helping to increase diversity. And the goose population in our cities has gotten out of control. The birds aren't just a nuisance to some, they're creating health and environmental concerns. The efforts to help manage them better.
And newly released video shows the shocking moment when a police cruiser was hit by a train with a woman restrained inside. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Jason Grenauer. We will get to that video in just a moment. But first, the amended autopsy report for teenager Elijah McClain was released this afternoon. The report changes the teen's cause of death from undetermined to complication of ketamine administration following forcible restraint. Basically, the report calls it a ketamine overdose. The change was made after the Adams County coroner received new information that was presented to a grand jury looking into the 2019 incident in which McClain was detained by Aurora police and injected with ketamine by Aurora fire paramedics. Now, you can read that autopsy report and an interactive timeline of the case so far right now on Denver7.com. And coming up on Denver 7 News at 5, investigative reporter Jennifer Kovaleski gives us an in-depth breakdown of that report and what it means for the case moving forward. Now, that shocking video out of Platteville, body cam and dash cam footage showing the moment a police cruiser was smashed, run into by a train. The woman inside survived. So take another look. The police cruiser is parked on the tracks. Officers only noticed the train approach several seconds before that collision occurred. Yareni Rios Gonzalez was detained only a few minutes prior for her alleged involvement in a road rage incident. Her attorney says she noticed the train far before officers did.
She attempted to escape from the vehicle, was unable to because it was locked. And that the train hit the vehicle. She has a broken arm that she has had surgery on, 9 broken ribs, a fractured sternum, broken teeth, injuries to her leg, back, and head.
Now coming up on Denver 7 News at 6, the lawsuits the officers involved may now face as their situational awareness has been questioned. A private funeral is planned for tomorrow for Weld County Sheriff's Deputy Alexis Hine-Newts. The deputy was killed by a hit-and-run driver last Sunday while riding her motorcycle to work. Deputy Hine-Newts had been with the sheriff's office since 2018, and the sheriff describes her as a hard worker and caring individual. The funeral is not open to the public, but will be live streamed on the Foundation's church website. This afternoon, Thornton police are still trying to identify the man who grabbed a 10-year-old girl outside her school this morning. It happened just before classes started at STEM Launch K-8. The girl resisted that attack and was able to get away. These photos come from surveillance cameras at the school. Neither angle shows the man's face, but you can see the Adidas logo on the dark sweatshirt he was wearing at the time of the attack. They say he was also wearing a mask and black gloves. Now, Thornton police did set up patrols around the school as they looked for that man. They say he may have left the area in a dark-colored SUV, crossover, or large sedan. So one more look at these pictures here in the monitor next to me. While we can't see his face, investigators say they believe the man they are looking for is about 5'8" and has blonde hair. So if you recognize him, call police.
More money is going toward fighting the opioid epidemic. Today, the Biden administration announced $1.5 billion in grants. The money will go to states to help increase access to treatment and recovery support services. That new money is on top of the $26 billion settlement with 3 major pharmaceutical distributors and Johnson & Johnson over the opioid epidemic. Nearly half of states recently started receiving their part of that money. Our partners at Newsy talked with a man who leads the nonprofit Parents of Addicted Loved Ones. His 2 sons struggled with opioid addiction, but both are now clean. He hopes some of that settlement money reaches the nonprofit.
What we do is this peer-to-peer support. That has plenty of research behind it that it works, and it did for us. That was the first time that we were sitting in a room full of people who understood.
How the settlement money is spent is up to each state. Public health leaders at Johns Hopkins put together a guide to help. It encourages states to invest in youth prevention, focus on racial equity, and create a fair and transparent process. New guidance also aims to increase access to the overdose reversing drug naloxone. The FDA is trying to make it easier for community-based programs to get naloxone. It's doing that by making them exempt from certain FDA rules. The change will help the programs get the drug directly from manufacturers and distributors now. A screening for anxiety could soon be part of your regular doctor's visit. The draft recommendation is out this week from the U.S. Preventative Services Task Force. It's the first time it has recommended this screening in primary care for all adults under age 65. Now, this is for people who don't have any signs or symptoms of anxiety disorders.
So many people experience fears, worries, and that's normal. That is normal. Many adults experience fears and worries. But what's different is that anxiety disorders are when those fears and worries are excessive and they impact an individual's daily life.
She's part of the task force and says the screening is expected to happen through a written questionnaire provided by your doctor's office. They would then check your responses to see if there's anything that needs a follow-up and additional screening. Government numbers show an estimated 31% of U.S. adults experience an anxiety disorder at some point in their lives. But research shows the disorders are under-identified in primary care and could delay starting treatment for decades.
So this is really trying to catch and identify early anxiety disorders in people who might not otherwise be identified, and being able to then diagnose and connect them to the care and support that they need.
The task force says the benefits from screening outweigh the risk, like inaccurate results leading to unnecessary follow-up care. Some pediatricians already do anxiety screenings for kids, but the task force is currently working on recommendations for how those screenings should work as well. Diabetics may not have to rely on shots anymore to get their insulin in the future. How a new type of pill currently being developed would work instead.
Also ahead, the reason driving through Clear Creek Canyon will be a bit more challenging come tomorrow. And the restaurant is closed for renovations, but some Casa Bonita workers are still hard at work. We'll show you later on Denver 7 News at 4.